was an email from Google, supposedly. And it said, "Hey, Melisa, we're from Google. We would love to have a chat with you. We have a couple of roles like this. Would you be interested?" And I swear to God, I laughed out so loud. And I was like, "This is spam. This is one of my friends pranking me." So I just kept the phone on the side and slept. It's really funny, in your last minutes, and this is what I thought, that this was going to be my last minutes on earth. I saw my whole life flash before me.
Place, yeah.
Like, I was bandaged knee to toe, but knee to toes, and I went into Yala for a 15-day jungle trip. So yeah,
So my
not
kind of person, I tell you, Melisa, you're my kind of girl.
I think one of the biggest mistakes us teachers make is thinking that we know our students. Take Melisa Fernando. She was in my English class, absolutely polite, focused, hardworking, the kind of student who never sought the spotlight but always gave her best. And yet, behind that calm exterior, there was this courage that I never fully saw until now. Because a few weeks ago, Rochelle called me.
Hi Maria, I've just met someone we need to have on the show, man. Seriously. She was headhunted by Google. She's building her own sportswear brand. And get this, she even survived 100-foot fall. Can you even imagine? Oh my gosh.
And her name? Melisa, my student Melisa. So, of course, we had to have her on Radical Seasons because there's no better person to school us on how to be unstoppable.
On my phone, I've saved her number as all star, Melisa. Right? Because she's amazing. And I didn't know her when I got to know about her brand, right? I didn't know her from Adam or Eve, right? But yeah, so this person who was handling it, he said, okay, you've got to meet her. She's, this, that, blah, blah, blah. And then, yeah, we met up, and my gosh, her resume is just beyond amazing. So she is the only Sri Lankan at Google, based in Ireland, and that's overlooking the whole EU region. That's among 10,000 employees, right? So that's amazing. She's also a professional photographer. She's a sports buff. She's what I mean. She has her own brand, right? It's called Empower Her. And what else, Melisa? My gosh, I don't know. So you'll get to know what she's really good at. She's good at almost everything she touches. She has that Midas or whatever touch. Everything she touches is gold. So it's really amazing. And what really touched me was, yeah, she has all these, I don't know, this super goals and heights that she has reached. But apart from all that, what attracts anybody to her is her humility and her openness and ability to just make everybody feel special. So yeah, here's introducing Melisa to you.
wow, that was I'm very humbled. I don't know
Yeah.
even know what to say.
So, what people won't know is that I know Melissa from school because I was her teacher. Got the opportunity to teach that very notorious class in grade six. Oh my God, I had to walk in and be a little bit of a, in the sense, Melissa was completely fine, but the class was just notorious. So I had to be like a real toughie, and I'm sure
So
they hated
basically,
me.
Maria, they were like us, right? They were like us. We were
They were like y'all.
notorious.
Yes. I mean, us, they were like us in school, but I had to be teacher also. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I was like really tough with them. But grade 10 and 11, I think I got to know them. But Melissa was
Yes.
like, always a quiet, solid, very respectful type. No issues with her, but I don't think I got the chance to get to know her. But I always knew that she was always such a, she had such wonderful qualities, and I was just so proud of where she is today. So,
Thank you.
yeah.
That is so humbling to hear, honestly. I think I always say this, and I always think back whenever I achieve something, even the smallest of things. I always think about how many people's lives have touched me from the past. Like, and I always kind of give it back to people who've been there, like my school, my teachers, my mentors who've kind of been, along for the ride. So you should take a little bit of credit at least.
I'd like
Yes.
that, but I don't think that. I guess I hope I have in some way. It would be
Yes.
wonderful. But I think it's a testament to your character, Melissa. I think where you are today. So I think it's I mean, we want to get to know how, like, you've gone about this. So before we dive into your journey with Google, can you tell us something about yourself in school that not a lot of your colleagues might know?
Um, I think back in school, how do I say this? I think I was running mile a minute, if it makes sense. I was doing everything in the vicinity. Obviously, I was a very good student as well. So I did my studies. But apart from that, I was involved in so many extracurricular activities in school. I think from sports where I played basketball for, I want to say 7 to 8 years at least.
Hmm.
And I also captained the under 13, the 15, the 17, and the 19 teams, and went on to
That
becoming the school
Melissa.
basketball captain.
Wow.
Um, I think that was like, I want to say that was one of the highlights I had at St. Bridget's, of course. But apart from that, I was also in the choir, I was the girl guide, um, I was in the Interact Club, and I went on to being in the district as well, so which is across the island, Sri Lanka. We have like a committee that's appointed to help all Interact clubs across the nation. And then I was in the religious societies. I also did a bit of swimming, athletics. I was a prefect. So my hands were full. And sometimes now, when I have some free time, I actually genuinely enjoy my free time because I always think back, oh my God, I was so busy during my school days that I didn't have time. And now I'm like, okay, I've got a couple of hours to read some books. So I think my colleagues would be shocked to know that I had such a busy life. And also, mind you, this was nothing that was enforced by my parents. This was just purely me. I loved being active. I loved doing all of these things. So it was just me as a person.
Things. Now I understand why I didn't see you so much in class. In the sense you were always busy, is what I
Yeah,
mean, not that you weren't in
yeah.
class. Like, like what was your parents' attitude towards, like, encouraging you with these sort of activities? Like what sort of advice do you think, like, parents who are listening would like to get
I
from?
think I have to give it to my parents as well. I've also got two brothers, one older, one younger, so only girl in the family. I also feel like they gave me the same freedom that they gave my brothers. They're also very broad minded, so they gave me a
Mm.
lot of freedom to kind of open my wings and fly. So I always tell them this, that it's like where I am today and who I am as a person has a lot to do with how they've brought me up, the values they've instilled in me as well. But I also took things into my hand. So basketball for 7 odd years means Monday to Friday early morning practices where I would play from like 6 in the morning till about 8:30 and come to class. And then I would also play 3 days in the evening, go on Saturday again for practices. So that's a lot of like transport, and where your parents have to really give you the support, which I understood at a point that my parents couldn't do everything for me. So there was a point, I think I was 15 years old. I would get my dad, and I lived in Muratua, which is quite far away from school, at least like an hour away, I would say, by vehicle. So I think I just told them, look, I need to go for practices, so I need to take things into my hand. Just drop me to like a main bus halt, and I used to take the bus at 15 at 5:30 in the morning, get to school by 6:15, and they obviously my safety was talked about, but then I also had to do the things that I wanted to because I always knew my end goal and where I wanted to kind of end up at. So they trusted me and they gave me so much support. And they also made sure that I was on top of my studies, etc., as well, because you need to have a good balance. You cannot be excelling in one area and kind of dropping in the other as well, especially during school time. And to any young girls listening to this, it's very important. Your studies are so important. So always make sure that you have like a balanced life. So yeah, to answer, my parents gave me all the support in the world. It means a lot to me. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. You are the first Sri Lankan to be hired by Google to work at their company in it's in Ireland, right? So
Yes.
can you tell us a little bit about how that happened? Not many people, I think, I
Yeah.
mean, know the background. Okay.
Yeah. So I'll take a few steps back and start with where I wanted to be in my career, everything. So at St. Bridget's, the last couple of years where you have to choose which subjects you need to take, I chose science because my whole passion in life was to be a doctor,
Hmm.
a heart surgeon if you must. My dream was to hold a beating hand in my heart. That was the ultimate dream. But of course things didn't go according to plan. So I think after school I kind of went into the path of management and law. So at some point I was like, oh, you know what, this seems interesting. I think I'm gonna get into the field of law. I want to be a corporate lawyer. So I started doing my undergrads in management and law. So first year down, going into second year where you have time for yourself because second year lectures are during the weekends. I got called in by one of my friends for a job at MTV. And for me, this was like, oh, amazing. This is my first job. It's TV, it's live action, cameras, the whole thing. So I went in as a question writer and a system, what was it called? A production assistant, I think, for Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? The,
Oh,
the franchise show. So I was writing questions for them. So I had to do a lot of research and make sure all these questions were coming in for the shows, and then controlling the full system. So 6 months later I then got called again by one of my friends, and he said, hey, there's a job opportunity. It's a UK company, it's in IT. So work hours are 1 p.m 9 p.m, would you be interested? I was 21, 22 at this point. So I was like, amazing, UK company, let's do it. My morning hours free. I can hit the gym in the morning. So, this was my thought process at the time. So I started with Total Amber. And so this was a company that took on overflow projects from IFS, Infolawson, Microsoft, etc. So I was there for 3 years, and this is when I stepped into the actual tech world, I would say. So that was the start of it. 2022 November, I want to say. So this was when I started working with Microsoft. So we were a Microsoft partner company at the point. So 4 years in the Microsoft partner industry, and then I got a call from Microsoft itself, right? And this is something that I would love to mention. So I've got called by Microsoft 3 times, and the third time is the one that worked. And this didn't have anything to do with me failing the interviews, nothing like that. So the first interview went through, and they almost, signed me in, but then there was a change in the country manager, so it kind of dropped. Um, and I'm not gonna lie, I was a bit disappointed because it is a huge interview, and I was 25 at the time. So to be called in by Microsoft when you're 25 is a big thing, and then the fall can also have a bit of an impact. But my motto in life has been literally fall 7 times, stand up 8. So I didn't let the little fall bother me. I went on with my regular work. And then again, a year later, I got called in for another interview by Microsoft, went in for it, passed with flying colors. Again, something along the lines of HR, something happened, right? So again dropped off, and I was like, okay, second blow. And at that point I was like, maybe I'm not going to try again. But again, I just let God work his magic. So no questions asked. And then the third time they called me again, and it worked, and I went on to being I think it was called a business application specialist across 7 countries. So I was looking after senior markets, and this was huge. I was very young in the market, and at that point, I want to say this is 2020, sorry, 2017, probably. It was a very male dominant tech market in Sri Lanka. So to be a Microsoft seller in this field was also something that I really had to navigate through.
Okay.
But 3 years at Microsoft, and one day I was sleeping, and my phone pinged at like 2 in the morning, right? And I was like, who could be emailing me at 2 in the morning? So I just checked, and it was an email from Google, supposedly. And it said, hey, Melisa, we're from Google. We would love to have a chat with you. We have a couple of roles like this. Would you be interested? And I swear to God, I laughed out so loud. And I was like, this is spam. This is one of my friends pranking me. So I just kept the phone on the side and slept. So I basically slept on Google. And then the next morning I woke up and I was like, wait, did that actually happen? Maybe I just need to, take a look into it again. Maybe I was sleepy. I don't know. So took the phone, read the email again, and checked for credentials, the whole thing. And then I replied. I took a chance. I was like, you know what? Who knows? And I said, hi. Yes, I would love to have a chat. Let's go for it. But again, even after that, and the funny part was right after the email was sent, they didn't even take 5 minutes. They replied and said, amazing, here's the link. Let's hop on a call tomorrow.
Wow.
And now I'm like, no, this is spam. This is definitely my best friend on the other side. So the next day, I get on a call wearing a plain old ratty t-shirt because I'm just expecting my best friend to be like, got you. And that's not what happened. And thank God that Google does not judge you on your clothes, because we have a very free culture over here. Um, six very hectic interviews down the line, I got into Google.
Wow.
Dream come true. And I think even today, I mean, I'm almost completing 3 years now. It's still very humbling to me because it is such a big opportunity.
Is it
And
2 years, Melisa? Oh my gosh.
so like the privilege that you have, like to be at the doors of one of the biggest tech companies in the world, and to also say that I work for two of the biggest tech giants is something that always blows my mind, right? But I'm always very, very humbled by it. It actually makes me even more humbled every time when someone even mentions it to me, because I do acknowledge the privilege that I have. Yeah, I think that's a bit of the Google story.
And like, what's the kind of work that you do, Melissa, if you can tell?
Yeah. So at Google, I work in a team called App Dev, which is app development. So the easiest way for me to make it make sense in like layman terms would be, um, when anyone looks up something on Google. So let's say you search something up, hotels in Sri Lanka, May 2025, something. And the next day you get bombarded by ads, right? So I work in the application.
Responsible for
That's
that.
her.
I am the face. I am the face behind the ads.
Oh my gosh, Rochelle, see?
I know. I had to tell you, but yep, that's her.
So so I work in the app side of stuff. So anything to do with your Samsung Android phones or your iOS phones, across your apps, wherever you try to find an app, and then the next day we basically find the best perfect user. Of course, which helps you to get your ultimate goal done, and also it helps the advertiser or the developer, who's the creator of the app, to kind of work his way through as well. So that's what I do in a nutshell.
Okay, awesome. So, like, do you what aspects of your job do you like, Melissa, in particular?
Um, so I think the main part about Google that I absolutely love, we do also get a lot of free food. I'm not going to touch on that, but apart from
Yeah,
the
I have
free food that
seen
we
the you'll have like a buffet, like free food, free flow.
yeah, yeah, it's insane. We've got like I think just in Dublin itself, we've got about 8 restaurants of different cuisine, mind you, with the buffet
Cuisines,
styles.
huh?
Yeah, it's insane. Like we've got Asian, we've got Italian, we've got Indian, the whole thing. So apart from the food, I think my number one favorite thing is the culture at Google.
Hmm.
The
Sri
people I've
Lankan. Do they have Sri Lankan?
They don't have Sri Lankan, but I have a couple of pictures where they've made Sri Lankan curry, but I'm telling you, it was not Sri Lankan curry. So, and the good part is we can actually speak to the chefs as well and tell them like, "Hey, sorry, this is not culturally appropriate," and kind of give them tips, but I haven't gone that far yet. Apart from the food, I love the people. Just in my team, it's a huge melting pot of cultures. We've got now we actually hired 2 more people, so it's about 10, 12 people in my team. And just to kind of give an idea, we've got an Egyptian, she's my best friend. We've got an Indian, we've got a Turkish, a Colombian, a Moldovan. My manager
Wow.
is Irish, and then we've got we just hired 2 more from France and Poland. We've got a Nigerian, so that's just 9 nationalities there, right? And the culture they bring to the table and their own personalities and character, it's just amazing, right? So I this is my favorite part about Google, and this is just my tiny little team. And then there's into 9,000 people like this, right? So you meet so many people and you get to learn so much about how to handle meetings because again from country to country I think it's very different as to how you speak to people, and then just forgetting about work you get to learn more about their cultures, their families, their lifestyles, and I absolutely love that. So that is my favorite part of Google.
Mhm. And I read something in the article that Rochelle wrote about you about keeping this fire alive outside work hours. Is that something that Google encourages?
Yes, they are very flexible in terms of work. So Mondays and Fridays we actually work from home. So everybody has a 2 day work from home, 3 days at office, and you can pick and choose. And apart from that, even your work hours, you can actually like shut off at 5 p.m. and not really worry about it for the next day. And then even when you go on holiday, they're super strict that you're actually on holiday. And this was something that was really hard for me to kind of come into terms with in the beginning because I worked in Sri Lankan corporate culture, which is very different, where you are even kind of, it's not said out loud, but even if you're on holiday you kind of need to be on top of things, maybe check on your emails, make sure nothing goes amiss. But I remember during so my first year here and then I went back home, I was on holiday and I opened the laptop because I was nervous. I was like, oh my God, my clients might need me, the emails, etc. And then my manager saw that I was online and she just emailed me. She just pinged me and said, hey, Melissa, why are you online? And I was like, oh, I just came to, check if everything was all right. And then she was like, you're not a firefighter. Like, you're on holiday. Like, rest, this is your break. This is where you kind of close off, take time for yourself. Nobody needs you right now, so go off. So for me to find that balance actually took
Mm,
some
mm.
but now, of course, 3 years down the line, I know better. When I'm off on holiday, my laptop's just thrown off to a
Wow.
place where you will not see it.
That's awesome. And I think it would have been so difficult for you because you're someone who is used to multitasking and juggling so many things at the same time, right? So
Yes,
I think you have
exactly.
to unlearn a lot of things.
Yes, yes. Oh, I love the phrase of unlearning to learn things. It's
Yeah.
something that I live by. So 100% had to unlearn a lot of things for new things to kind of come into play.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I was curious, you were talking about when you were at Microsoft, how you had this male dominated culture when it came to tech. Like, do
Yeah.
you have this problem? Say now there are a few of us like who, if you get a call like this from this big
Yeah.
company, you have this sort of imposter syndrome that's like, oh my God, like how do you silence that inner critic?
Um, to be honest, I love your session name, by the way. It's called Radical. What's it
Seasons.
called again? Yeah. So
Radical
I'm
seasons.
radical season. So I'm a very radical person. I would say, right. I don't know whether this is good or bad, but I always imposter syndrome is, of course, it can happen, but I'm also a person who's very confident in terms of
Mm,
I'm not going to let any external validation get to me, but that's just who I am as a person, right? And it could be very different from person to person and how they take this. The best thing for you to for you to think and kind of stand your ground would be to just know who you are as a person, right? And don't let anyone's thoughts or any thought process or any validation really get to your mind, because it doesn't matter. And I always say that if a problem is not going to bother you in the next 2 years or in the next 5 years, you should not be thinking about it for the
mm,
next 2 minutes or 5 minutes,
exactly. Yeah.
like do not waste your time. So this is how I navigate through it, and I don't let any of this really get to my mind. And I think people need to embrace who they are
Mm.
as they are, and just be really confident about achieving what they can. I think it's always a mindset game, and it's you should not let any other person tell you otherwise.
Amen. Very good. Well said,
Oh,
Melissa.
thank God. I think, Lisa, you should have been our teacher, right?
Yes. No, definitely,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
Another interesting thing was this accident. Rochelle was like, she had mentioned it in the article, but briefly, I'd like to know a little bit about it. It seemed to be a turning point in your life. Tell us
I
about
would
this
say
accident.
that safely. This was in 20. So yeah, now it's 2025. I'm so happy that I'm actually like forgetting the actual dates, because I had major PTSD afterwards. So very happy to have forgotten. But yeah, 2021 November. So I do a bit of photography on the side as well, mostly wildlife photography. But this was something different. One of the hotels in Allah wanted me to come and do
Not a
some
bit of
photography for
photography,
them.
Maria. She's a professional, okay? She's just trying to, undermine it.
Let me
Yeah.
humble it down, 3 steps down.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I was, so yeah, so we went to Allah, and the hotel, this was a brand new build up, and they also had some tuk-tuks, three-wheelers, that they've specifically kind of built with their logos, their branding, and they were going to use this for chauffeuring their tourists from the hotel to the Nine Arch Bridge, which is very famous in Sri Lanka. So um, they basically just gave us a driver and said, "Oh, he'll take you down to take the pictures." And I was like, "Yeah, no problem, all good." And then we were going. So we were on our way from the hotel to the bridge, and there's this specific route. If you've been to the Nine Arch, you'd know. If you didn't do the hike down, there's a specific
Yeah.
route that the tuk-tuks take to take you there, which is a shortcut. Um, to my knowledge, the shortcut is now closed after our accident. But
Oh,
and
really?
I really hope to God it is, because it is so dangerous. So we were going down the tuk, and just one turn into this very steep road. The so we just kind of started flying, right? Because it was super steep, like it was literally like steep in terms
So
of a straight line down.
the took lifted off the ground.
The tuk just started going down the ramp very fast, and I obviously started screaming my head off at this point. And the driver said, break na alla gun. So no brakes, no brakes, hold. And and in my head, I'm just like, what? Like, what? Of course, I was screaming at this point. And with the next bend, the tuk just flew off the road and down a mountain, 100 feet down.
Oh my God.
Um, and it's really funny, in your last minutes, and this is what I thought, that this was going to be my last minutes on earth. I saw my whole life flash before me, like, from when I was a kid, my school. And it's just like, it's you're just flicking an album really fast, and this is your mind just flicking through pictures, images, all the memories you've had.
Mm.
And then my last memories were, of course, my family, my best friends, and then my dog. Like, I still remember the last image was my dog. And then we just flew off, landed, and the tuk-tuk's roof came off. So people who were inside, we just kind of flew off to different places. Um, and it was two of my friends. So the driver, two of my friends, and myself. And I thought, so at some point, I was lying on the ground, just staring at the sky. So I knew I was alive, right? And with the fall, I knocked my left calf muscle or my left leg really hard on the ground. So I heard something crack. Um, and at that point, I was like, that's my leg gone. I've just lost my leg. And that's okay. I'm alive. And now it's just a lot of thoughts in my mind at this point. And I was also wearing leggings. So my leg started swelling so bad, it was like the size of a watermelon, and it really couldn't go further. I had to take a stone and rip my legging off
Oh my God.
because it's so painful. And then at this point, I was like, okay, I'm alive. I'm lucky to be alive, but I think everyone else is dead. And then I look around. Luckily, nothing happened. And everyone just had small bruises and cuts. I think I suffered most of the injury because of my leg. But other than that, we were all fine. Like, we managed to walk back from it to the
Wow.
hospital, right? So I think that accident changed my life into another level, I think. So I woke up the next day and I actually heard birds singing out loud, and I was like, oh my God, I'm alive. And I think that was the point where I learned about privilege of living and having a
Mm.
life and having two
Mm.
legs that could
Stunning.
function.
Mm.
So I suffered a lot since 2021. And to be honest, there's still a part of my leg that I can't feel because I had a lot of muscle damage. So I have like it's getting better every day, but I still have a little part on my calf muscle where it's still numb. And I do get like a bit of feeling every day. And it's really funny. Sometimes it's just like a small, like a link of electricity going down my leg, and I'm like, oh, there it is. There it is, more feeling. So it's about 95% better, but I know I'll be fully healed at some point. So I think that was a huge turning point in my life, in terms of learning about the people who are around me, just learning about life as a whole, um, really being thankful for having two legs that could function. Lots of ups and downs, and lots of emotional moments also, because I think till that point, I was always a sporty person since I was a child, I think. So I was always working out. I was doing CrossFit. I was at the gym. I was running. I was still playing basketball just for fun, of course. Um, so I had to stop all of this, right? Because I couldn't move. I was bandaged, knee down to my toes on my left leg. I was also bruised all over, like half of my face, because that's where I kind of landed. So I was fully bruised on my right side, and thank God, like, I have no scars. I don't know how that happened, and to be honest, I don't know how I am alive. Like, I genuinely don't know. So it was definitely not my time to go, I think. So I
Mm.
also believe in, your time. all of that. But it was intense to a point. I did not tell my parents the truth about the accident till 3 years after, because they would have just grounded me for the rest of my life
So
and said,
how did you explain the
yeah, I
injury?
told them, I told them that it was an accident in Colombo where the tuk just hit a curb and fell onto
Oh,
the side of the road.
okay.
And this is what I
Think they
told my
believed you
parents.
or no? I guess they wouldn't have, that would have.
I think that, yeah, exactly. I think the reasoning was not for question at that point because they were just worried about my health and, what was going on. But then, like 3 years later, I showed them the pictures and I told them the whole story. And my mother was like, I'm going to ground you for the rest of my life. So I was like, now you
Too
know, I
late,
did
I'm
tell
in
you.
Ireland.
Exactly. So I'm like, now you know. But yeah, to this day, she would hold this on. Yeah, she would bring it up. Any sort of argument where I'm kind of trying to be too adventurous, she'd hit me with this, and I have given her all credits to do so because I think I also learned so much. But again, it was an accident. It's not something that I did on purpose. Life goes on, and you come.
And Melissa, just to interrupt, sorry to interrupt, but I need to say this as well. You mentioned that it is a miracle because you said that those the tea plantation that you are landed on, right?
Yeah,
They
yeah,
had, yeah. You can maybe touch
yeah.
on that as
Um,
well.
so the block that we fell into, and this was like a full tea estate, right? And all the other tea estates were, what do you call it, Rochelle? I forgot the word. Where they kind of,
Pruned.
yeah,
They
they've pruned. Yeah, they've pruned the rest of the tea estates except for the block that we fell into. And if the block that we fell into was also pruned, we would have genuinely died because we would have had
Mm.
trees going through us because the edges could be very sharp. And that would have definitely been the end. And the owner.
basically y'all would have been impaled, right? Y'all would have
Exactly. We
been.
would have been impaled 100%. And the owner of the estate, they were a lovely old couple. They actually came to help me up. And they said, oh, we didn't have money to prune the
Wow.
estate this month. So we couldn't do it. Whereas everyone else, did the pruning because they had money. And I mean, the timing, the location, everything, right? And that was the time where I was like, oh my God, things could have gone worse.
Mm.
But yeah, so that was like a miracle to me somehow. And I
For sure.
remember I remember like so at some point I got up because I was like, maybe my leg's broken, maybe it's not, I'll just get up and stand. Um, and then at that point I figured that my bone was not cracked, it was just muscle damage as well. And then I went into shock, right? Because everyone, and at this point there were so many people coming and they're like, oh, come up, walk up. And I was like, no, I'm gonna stay here for the rest of my life in the middle of a tea estate because I just went into shock. And of course I had a lot of blood on my face, my hands, and there were leeches
Oh my
all across
God.
as well. So it wasn't fun. Yeah. So then only this couple came and helped me up while tucking away at the leeches. And yeah, but like I said, you go through things and then you come on the other side stronger. And this was the start of my clothing brand as well, Empower, which is spelled EMPOWHER. So it's Empower, play on words there. Uh, because I saw my body change with because like I said, I was so physically active before. I had
Mm.
to stop everything for a good 2 years till I was cleared out by the doctors. And I saw my body change, and I just wanted to create a brand that would resonate for females and also to kind of tell my story through it. And that was the birth of Empower.
Awesome. And how did you, like you said, you had some PTSD. Like, how did you
Yes.
process all of this?
I think after the accident for at least 6 months to to 1 year, I had major PTSD because I would go to sleep, but then I would literally hear the tube tumbling down, and it was chaotic. So and again, usually my getaway is to be physically active and to run, to hit the gym, to do that, but which I couldn't. So, two things which I did, one thing which was not good, one thing which was great. Great. Let's talk about the bad thing first. I turned into comfort food. This was very bad because this is also which led to like me gaining weight. All of that happened later on. But the good thing I did was I was reading more, trying to journal more, to really kind of pen down my thoughts and to process it. I think I was also not acknowledging it instantly, but then I took some time and then I did acknowledge what was going around. Um, so it definitely took some time to process. And also, the fact that I lied to my parents was also, it's always there in your head. Like I said, my parents have always supported me. They've always been very open to things. So this was like one of the biggest lies I've ever told them. And it was not even a white lie. Um, but yeah, I think did it to just kind of give them the sense of, to not worry them.
I think, you
But
just wanted to protect them, right?
exactly. So that is what I did. But I was also adventurous to a point, and this is where you will also be shocked. I think 5 days after the accident, I went into Yala, which is also my peace. Like it's literally my second home.
It's
It
your
gives me
happy
a lot of
place.
peace.
Your happy
It's
place,
my
right?
happy place. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was bandaged knee to toe, but knee to toes, and I went into Yala for a 15-day jungle trip.
Oh.
So yeah,
So
not
my
not
kind of person, I tell you, Pralisa, you're my kind of girl.
not one of my shining moments, but it is the truth, and it is what happened. I of course had friends who were looking after me. But I think that also helped me because it's my happy place. It's where I don't have to worry or think about anything else.
Better than sitting in
Uh,
a room and feeling sorry for yourself,
exactly.
right?
Yeah,
Mm.
exactly. So staying middle of the jungle,
Mm.
no internet, no phone. So that
Mm.
really helps me to ground myself.
Off
Just
the
a
grid.
book
Off the grid.
off the
Oh.
grid, off the grid. Just a good book to read. That's my favorite thing.
I'm curious, did you tell your brothers?
No, not even my brothers knew. No.
Mm.
Yeah. I
And
think
how?
I told my brothers before I told my parents. I think, but even that took about 2 years, because they were also worried. I mean, naturally, because it was a lot. It was a lot because the damage that I had was a lot of muscle damage. So every time in the initial 3 months, right after, every time I would kind of keep my foot on the ground, the blood rush was so intense that it was so painful. So I had to take a lot of time to really kind of embrace the fact that I couldn't do the things that I once did,
Mm.
um, which was very difficult for me. For me, I think staying in one place is a really tough thing to do, um, because of just I've always been like a hurricane through things, always doing a lot of things at the same time. Um, so for me to take time off, rest was something that I really had to embrace. I think after 4 months, I remember trying to work out at home, which actually made it much worse because I had internal bleeding, and then I started working out at home, which kind of made it even worse. So this was the time where I was like, okay, Mel, you need to not rush things. You need to just slow down, your health before everything. And I really had to kind of sit back, pause, and take a breather for myself, which is what I did.
I think that's the lesson
So
that seems
yeah,
to be the theme of I mean, even at Google, it's
yes,
about taking a break.
yes,
It's like life is
yeah,
kind of stop to smell the
yeah.
rose sort of thing, right?
Oh, I love that. Yes, I actually I remember. I think this was during one of my Microsoft interviews. The gentleman asked me, what's your favorite quote or what's something you you've heard that has stuck by you? And I said, oh, it's, stop and smell the roses, which is quite funny now because I have not been stopping to smell the roses back then. But
Someone
I'm
had to
now
someone had to literally stop you, say, hold on.
smell the roses. Yeah, but now I think I live a very different life. I am still very active in terms of going to the gym, going for my runs, whatever. But I also take a lot of time for myself. And Ireland is a beautiful country to do that. It's literally out of a fairy tale. It's so beautiful. So you can take a lot of time for yourself, go on walks, or just sit with the book, and just really be mindful about what you're doing with your time. So that's something I genuinely do now. I'm very mindful about my time, and how I use my time.
And so, what sort of things do you use that time? Like you mentioned reading. Other than that, what do you do?
I do a bit of painting. I also play the guitar. And then, of course, my photography is something that takes a lot of time. So, the editing that goes into the photography, the videography I do takes a bit of time as well. So, that's definitely something I do. But
Self-taught,
apart from
Melissa?
that, sorry,
Are you self-taught?
I am self taught. Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Maria,
Uh,
recently she had an exhibition, in England, right? And Cinnamon Trails, they were also part of it. I can
Oh,
share
got
I
yeah.
you
can share.
that, Melissa, like photography?
I think I absolutely love animals and the jungle, and this was something that was instilled by my parents. And it's really funny how things change because when I was young, when I was very
Yeah,
small,
it is a good
they
story.
used to drag me into the jungle. And I don't think when you're like 6, 7, 8 years old, you don't really enjoy the jungle as much, right?
Mm.
So at that point, I used to be a little fussy about it. But then at some point, I was like, yeah, okay, this is what my holidays are going to look like because my dad loves elephants. My mom loves the forests, the jungles as well. So now things have changed, and I'm the one who drags them into the jungle. And any of my Sri Lankan holidays, or even when I was in Sri Lanka after, um, my weekends would be in one of the national parks. So they question me now, and they're like, why do you have to go into the jungle every weekend or every holiday? And I'm like, oh, well, look what you taught me. But,
They
so
have
things have
unleashed
been,
a monster. Well, not a monster, but you know.
yes, yes, they have. But yeah, it's something that I'm very passionate about, and of course, there is a lot of conservation, and things that I speak of as well on the other side. So whenever I'm in Sri Lanka, I try to speak to kids about it. So just like my last holiday, which was in May 2025, we actually did a session for the kids at the French. I think it was organized by the French embassy to all the French schools in Sri Lanka. So we had a session where we spoke of wildlife, conservation, a bit of photography as well, in a way that kids understand it, and makes them interested in saving all of this as well, because they are the future and they are the target audience that you actually need to speak to. So yeah, so that's also things that I do in my pastime.
There aren't a lot of women in that space as well, right? Photography and
um,
conservation.
yeah, I think if you ask me this maybe 7, 8 years back, I would say very, very minimal, but I think it has actually changed now,
Okay.
and there are more women coming in, and it's so beautiful to see. We love women who kind of come and take over. So there are lots of young girls who've stepped into it as well, and then there are some amazing ladies who kind of set the path, previously. So there are people you can actually look up to and learn as well. But it is minimal, but there's definitely more than it has been in the last couple of years.
So where do you see yourself heading next, Melissa, personally and professionally?
Wow. A question I ask myself too. But well, personally, really want to work more on my brand, empower, and the next couple of steps is to launch it here in Ireland and across Europe as well. I've already kind of set the roots for that, and starting up. So that's one huge thing I would say. Really want to kind of share the message that comes with the brand as well. It's about empowering women, and that's where I stand. I don't think it's gonna be like the next big brand out there, and that's not what I want it to be as well. It's more of a story, and I want females to relate into it and find their true power. That's on the personal side, I would say. Professionally, I see myself being at Google and doing more wonderful things. I know there is a long path ahead of me in terms of Google, because there is so much opportunity to grow. And it's technology which I absolutely love, because it's something that changes every second of every day now. There's always something so new. It is a lot of um, it is a lot of information to process, but I do love it. So definitely, probably the next couple of years, I will be at Google, hopefully. And other than that, really want to go further in my photography career as well. Do more. So I'm going to be in Africa again towards end of October. So a lot more things to look forward to, I would say. But yeah, and overall, just be happy. I think that's what's most important than everything I actually mentioned. Just to be happy, to find my true self more. I think every day I get closer to being my truer self. I think that's one of my goals that I want to have, and to genuinely be so happy, and do everything with that same happiness and that same energy. So no negativity, and that's really kind of where I want to be at, and just be happy, just be a good human. Yeah.
Awesome. And so, if we were to end today's chat with like, if you were to sit with your 16-year-old self, what sort of
Yeah.
advice would you give her?
I think there was this trend, right? Sometime back going on, like you meet your older self for coffee.
Mm,
What would you say? I actually wrote a poem
yes.
for this. Maybe I'll share it with you all later on. But if I was to sit with my, younger self, I'm sure there would be questions of, like, have you achieved everything that you set your mind into? And I would 100% say, yes, I have. And I've gone further and achieved more. I don't think I would have ever dreamt of myself working with two of the biggest tech giants in the world. Still mind blowing to me. So definitely, I would share that with her and just tell her to not worry,
Mm.
because the future is strong, the future is female, and that we do everything that we set our mind into. Um, and I would just tell her to be happy, just for her to be the same person that she was back in school, carefree, doing her sports, chilling, just being an overall happy person, I would say. Yeah, I think that would be what I tell her.
And having known the kind of person you were back then, I would say that
Yeah.
you are the same in essentials. So, as Jane Austen says,
Oh,
and
thank
that is
you.
something you should be really. I'm so proud to
Yeah,
see that, Melissa, and I wish you all the very best. Rochelle
yeah.
and I are so glad to have you on the show, and I
Yeah.
think you will inspire so many people who are listening today.
Thank you
Yeah,
so much,
that's
Miss
very true.
Maria.
You
And
have to
thank you
call me
so
Miss
much.
Maria.
I just cannot step out of it.
Okay.
You will always be Miss Maria to me. And I
Yeah.
was thinking, Rochelle, like I have this really, you pick up memories from school, and those are like, because of course you don't remember the whole time that you've been at school, but I still remember today reading Little Women with you, which is one of my most favorite books. Like I could read it over and over and never be sick of it. And we read Little Women, and there was something that you brought to us. I don't think it was even a necessity.
Okay.
And it was something that I enjoyed and I still remember to date. And then I also remember your wedding, and I think you were sharing photos with us in the most beautiful bridal gown. So I still remember those, beautiful memories. So you've definitely
Oh,
left a mark on
oh,
me, and I'm
that's
sure
lovely.
as well as my, classmates as well.
Uh, that's awesome. I'm so happy that like because I don't remember any of this. So like sometimes students come to me with
Yeah.
these sort of things. One other said that I had told kids to rub um, cream on their hands so their hands are nice and
Yeah.
soft.
Oh my God. And yeah.
I was like, okay, how superficial, but okay. Anyway,
Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah. So very good memories.
good, Melissa. So
Yeah.
wishing you all the best, Rochelle. Do you have anything to add?
Yes, yes. So I'm so happy that this came about purely by chance. But
Mm.
yeah, I also believe that nothing is by chance in a way, because nothing is coincidental, right? It's always providential, and the timing was right. Timing was right. I had heard about Melissa. I think it was last year or so, but see, everything came out in such an amazing way. It is. I've got the opportunity. Always tell myself, I tell others too, I'm a pencil in the hand of God. So I feel like God has really used me to kind of write about her, and to even introduce her on this podcast. And yeah, it's just amazing. And it's amazing that Melissa knew Maria, and yeah, there's a history there.
Yeah.
So wow, really amazing.
So
Yeah.
what do you what have you planned today? Are you having something
Um,
interesting up for
I
the
have
weekend?
so usually my weekends are, well, going to the gym, going for a run, doing Pilates. But apart from that, I'm meeting a couple of my friends for dinner on Saturday, so that's going to be nice. And apart from that, a lot of reading. I take a lot of time to really read. I'm such a book hoarder, which I think you will love, Miss Maria,
I
because
think we all are book holders, right? Oh my gosh.
yeah. And recently, I was thinking I have so many books, and then I also have so many books in my Kindle. I don't think I'll even live that long to read everything I have, and this is really concerning me.
I know it's just like,
Yesterday,
like
Melissa, yeah,
continue.
yesterday I was looking at my books and I was like, Lord, just give me a month without any other commitments just to finish reading these books. 1 month.
Yeah.
Thing
Oh
is
my
when the
God.
month if the month comes also sometimes like it's in the I would just love to just go to a bookshop and then again read and then hoard. So I think
Yeah.
for every book I read I might be hoarding about five
Yeah,
or more.
exactly. I think that's a good ratio. That's a good healthy
Yeah.
ratio to have. And oh my God, I when I came to Ireland, and this is actually going to be a really fun fact. When I came to Ireland, I'm so attached to my books. I actually packed them and brought the books to with me to Ireland. So that
Wow.
was
So,
at least
Maria, I think we should go to Ireland, right?
at least like 400 books in this
Are
house,
you
which I brought.
serious?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, yeah. And thank God Google helped me with, the packaging,
Yeah.
like the posting, everything. But yeah,
So now
I'm
these are
so
books you've already read?
no, no. My
Ah.
my hoarding skills.
And I have Irish roots, Maria. My great grandmother was Irish. Her name was Dorothy
Wow.
Enright.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Very
Yeah. So, yeah, one day, you and
One
I
day
will go,
to Ireland. Yes.
and we'll be at Melissa's reading books.
Reading books. Yes, this is
Yeah.
what we will do.
What's your current read, Melissa?
I'm reading a book called I Who Have Never Known Men.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Okay.
It's
Wow.
a
That's
science fiction.
Who's the
It's
author?
very, I forgot her name. I can look it up for you. It's
Hmm.
I think she's
Non-fiction?
quite it's no, it's fiction. I Who Have Never Known Men, Jacqueline Harpman. Yeah.
Oh,
Hmm.
wow.
It's a very
Wow.
different book to what I've read. Um I'm still kind of reading it, and then sometimes, there are times where you read and then you need to kind of go back and read the same page again to really kind of grab to what they're saying. So it's very female oriented. It's about a young woman who is kept in a cage underground with 39 other women,
Oh my
and
God.
they are
Sounds
guarded by
fascinating.
yeah, they're guarded by men, and they kind of, they're only given food, just of course the space to breathe, and that's it. So it's about how their lives kind of go by, and then this girl has so many questions to the other women who've lived there for longer. Yeah, so that's still where I'm at as well. So I need to continue.
Wow. Fascinating. That sounds like a really interesting book. Yeah. Good. I'm going to look that up. Awesome.
Yes.
So good to get to know the adult Melissa as well. So many things that I'm proud to know about you, and like we hope that you continue to do the awesome work that you are doing into the
Thank
future.
you so
Wishing you
much.
all the best.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.